Well, the evidence shouldn't point that.
No, I'm just saying.
The evidence
if it occurred.
If it did.
Right.
If it did.
Because there's always the chance that one lawyer's going to fail.
If the evidence was truly objective and there was no subjectivity involved in it, then it shouldn't point that. It just shouldn't.
And then I feel like it has to do with like the lawyers too, like how accurately you're being represented. Because like even in back to the death penalty legend, there's lawyers who fall asleep during the trials, don't even try. They just come in drunk.
And that's wrong.
There just needs
but
to
that
be,
has to go back to the legal system and the institution. Like that has nothing to do with the death penalty.
Okay, so then I think
has to do with the institution.
We should find something else other than the death penalty until we can reform this. Because we cannot put innocent. You can't put people to death without knowing for sure what's going on.
There's no way you're going to be able to reform that.
Exactly, and it still comes back to you're willing to sacrifice innocent people so that these few guilty can die. You're taking a completely Machiavellian view of this.
I don't even know what that word means.
The ends justify the means, where all of these horrible people are dying, even though these innocent people are dying, but it's okay because the bad guys are still dying. These awful murderers are still dying.
Okay, well think. Okay, like let's
so
go back.
you're denying people who are completely innocent, who should maintain their rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. You're denying them their rights because.
But evidence pointed towards them.
But you're still denying them their rights unjustifiably.
Why is it unjustifiable?
Because you're saying that the system that's putting them to death is flawed. So
it takes away.
Okay.
It takes away their choice.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all about. That's what humans are all about. The ability to make choices.
Okay. Well, say the institution was perfect.
You can't.
No, just say
okay.
it was.
Right.
Then
for argument's sake.
But I would.
But
then I would still be for the death penalty if it was perfect.
If it was
everyone
perfect,
would be for the death penalty if it's perfect.
Yeah. But there's just so many underlying circumstances behind every case. And then, okay, think about this. You've got a serial killer like Ed Gaines or Ted Bundy, somebody who's gone around and murdered countless people. And then, let's say you have a drug dealer who's selling a massive batch of cut goods. And he's selling them to all these people, and all these people are dying because they're taking his cut batch. Is the drug dealer just as fault as the guy who went around with a knife and stabbed people? Should the drug dealer who gave a batch that killed like thousands or like hundreds of people be punished the same as somebody who took a knife to him or took a knife to hundreds of people?
Yes.
So he should, but he didn't directly kill these people. These people took the drugs of their own volition.
So then the cigarette companies, they should be put. The heads should be put to death. They should get the death penalty.
I hate y'all. If they wrongfully know they're putting out shit.
They do. They know. They know.
Smoking causes cancer.
That's a fact. That's a fact against them.
I don't know if they put it to death, but they.
Oh, are they not killing people?
So their way of murdering.
They're not
people is
doing
better
anything
than
about it. They're
anybody
not doing
else's.
anything to prevent it.
I don't like that.
They ran out of the fire, basically.
But it comes down to the person who smokes. It's not the company's fault.
Okay.
They're just supplying things.
So just like the drug dealer was just supplying things.
Yeah, I don't think the drug dealer should be killed. The drug dealer has to deal with their own things, and that's.
I mean, I think they should. Yeah, I don't know if the drug.
But the drug dealer, or the people who are buying the drugs, they're not buying these drugs under the impression that they're buying something that's going to kill them. They think they're buying something that's going to make them feel good. But if they buy something full of rat poison, they end up all dying immediately with the first whatever hit.
But they know what effects weed could have on them.
They know what effects the drugs could have on them,
but they don't know what's in it.
But it's this drug dealer.
But they know the risk going into it, don't they?
Yeah,
They know the risk, right?
But the drug dealer knows exactly what he's going to put into these people's systems.
He knowingly
distributes a lethal drug.
It's like, let's say a person has AIDS. For instance.
Ooh.
Let's say a person has AIDS.
Where are we going with this?
And they
knowingly
have unprotected sex with
someone
with
passing
people.
on AIDS.
Would you? I mean, you're already dying anyway, but would you still be put to death?
Yeah, I think you should.
See, to me, on that point, I feel the same way because you knowingly infecting another person without.
Yeah, but that's what you get for being stupid and having unproductive sex.
So then
that's what the person that had sex with the person with AIDS, they were stupid. Like, but that's what you get.
Okay, because they knew the risks. Because they knew the risks.
Everyone knows. Well, okay. In an ideal society, everyone should know the risks of sex, but people are stupid. They don't. But
or misinformed.
So you still think that the death penalty is okay in certain situations?
I don't know where I stand with the death penalty.
you're so against it in every aspect, right?
I'm against this system. The system that puts people to death. I'm against that. Like, I don't see how.
I'm against the idea of institutionally killing people.
Actually, that's actually spoken about in...
Institutionally killing people.
Well, here, look,
So is it okay for people to kill?
Is war okay?
No, not at all.
Okay, it says here that technological tools and the bureaucratic diffusion of responsibility necessary to make mass murder efficient and ordinary. It's like you're making it just another part of life. You know, like well, his term of institutionally killing people. Because, if you go back to the Holocaust thing that he brings up in the...
I kind of want to talk about, like, the act of execution. Like, I don't want to talk about the legal system. Let's talk about...
Okay.
Let's talk about, like, the act of doing it. Like, the electric chair, lethal injection. I kind of want, like, having witnesses. I don't get that. Like, why would you have witnesses do that?
It's for the victim's family, I guess you could say.
But that right there sounds like cruel and unusual punishment. Like,
and that's what I was saying. Is the cruel and unusual part? Is it really for the?
So if there are no witnesses, what's the difference between injecting somebody with a lot of potassium or whatever it is they use nowadays and taking them out back and shooting them in the head and then throwing them into a pit? What's the difference? If there's no witnesses, they're just going to die.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I saw one guy on
locked up
raw, and he was like, I wanted them to take me out and shoot me and have to look me face to face rather than putting me to sleep like you put a damn dog that's sick to sleep that you don't care about anymore. And so I don't know, like, I feel like the people that are being killed should have a choice how they want to be killed.
But their victims didn't have the choice on how they got murdered, how they were killed. Should you give them the choice when they didn't give their victims the choice?
I don't know.
Would that matter?
Being put to sleep. No, you're right. That kind of brings me up a point, but like being put to sleep seems so like peaceful. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like in a weird way, like.
Isn't it kind of just a gift?
Being put to sleep?
Being put to death.
That's what I was thinking.
Isn't being put to death just a gift? I mean, if the person who committed a murder worthy of the death sentence is sitting in jail and they're constantly thinking about this awful thing that they did,
and
feeling constantly guilty, isn't putting them out of their misery just another gift?
Yes. And some people do that. Some people in prison they're sentenced to life in prison, but they'll sit there and they'll kill inmates and they do things in prison just to be put to death.
Well, then who's the death penalty for then? Is it for the legal system or is it for the victims?
Does it really matter?
Yeah.
Well, because the reason why the death penalty is given is for justice.
The reason you're justifying it is because these people deserve it, you say.
Yeah, but I mean, if they also want to be put to death, then let them be put to death. If they don't want to be there.
So what about the people who are innocent and don't want to be put to death?
Well, should have a look.
I don't know about that.
I hate when you say that. I really do.
Well, it's because you're just being so. You're making these people.
Just if you want to throw things.
Like you're taking away the humanity of a person.
Yeah.
I feel.
You're cheapening life.
It's like, oh, I lost another pen. Oh well, I'll go buy another one.
It's like, oh look, there's more people that can innocently die.
But that's how we do on lives like that.
No.
It's not at all.
No, that's the way institutions are making life. And that's the way that a mass of the populace is accepting it to be. But it doesn't have to be like that.
See, because
it doesn't have to be like that, but it is.
No, so that's the way it currently is. It doesn't.
You're leading with the ideas of I hate having to. Okay, the risk of wrongful execution of innocence. Okay, he's like some might say that 14 or 140, like that the cases have been overturned by DNA evidence, right, for the death penalty. But he says it doesn't make a difference because it's like comparing it to 1% mortality risk or 10% risk, that it doesn't make a difference because either way you're getting the guilty who need to be put to death are being put to death. It doesn't matter if the innocent people are being put to death because it just doesn't make a difference. But it makes a difference to them and their families. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like
you're not only punishing an innocent person,
you're punishing
an innocent person's social circle.
There's consequences to every action, and if
well, let's think about people that are innocent but wrongly convicted. how does that happen? Like, you were in the wrong place at the wrong time?
It could happen in any number of ways.
There's a lawyer who's really